Hey friends, this is Namrata. Hope you all are doing good today. In today's video session, we will be discussing another topic in Salesforce flow, which is record triggered flow. In my previous video session related to Salesforce flow, we have discussed what is the importance of flow, and there are two different types of flows that you can implement. One is screen flow, that is a guided visual experiences, and the second one is behind the scenes automations. For the guided visual experience, you can make use of the screen flow, right? And for behind the scenes automations, there are different types of flows that are available, like one is record triggered flow and auto launched flow, schedule triggered flow. Likewise, there are a couple of flows that is provided by the Salesforce. This record triggered flow is something which is most commonly used nowadays. So rather than writing an Apex code, some of a business or the complex business processes logic can be achieved using the record triggered flows. So that is why most of the people have started using the flows, and with just simple clicks, you will be able to automate the business logic. So there are different types of actions in the record triggered flow. One is a record is created, record is updated. When a record is created or updated, and when a record is deleted. So what we are going to do is we are going to have a demo and understand what is a business use case and see how we can make use of the Salesforce flow, which is record triggered flow for our business use case. We'll make use of a simple scenario business use case, wherein let's consider the business use case as you are creating a lead, and as soon as a lead is created, an email has to be triggered to the sales manager or lead owner or whoever it is. So that is a simple business use case. So we'll try to understand how we will make use of the Salesforce flow and how we will be able to send out the email using the record triggered flow, which is an auto launched flow. So we'll try to get into our demo. So before I get into our demo, if you are watching our video channel for the first time, I would request you all to please subscribe, like and share our channel SFDC One Stop. Now let us log into our Salesforce tab. Go to the setup from the left hand side. On the quick find box, search for the flows. So here under the process automation, you will see a flow and click on new flow. So in my previous session, which is related to flows, right, we discussed about couple of flows: screen flow, schedule triggered flow, auto launched flow, record triggered flow, platform event triggered flow. So earlier session was related to the screen flow. Today we will be discussing about a record triggered flow. It clearly says a record triggered flow is something which launches when a record is created, when a record is updated or deleted. This auto launched flow runs in the background. So based upon the business use case, we can make use of any of these types of flows and start implementing our business use case. So here we will select the record triggered flow and let's click on next. How do you want to start building? We will make use of the free form. So here you can see that for the screen flow, the builder representation is different, and for the record triggered flow, it will be showing us the record triggered flow, which talks about different types of actions as I was mentioning in my slide deck. Triggered the flow when a record is created, when a record is updated, when a record is created or updated, when a record is deleted. So based upon your business scenario, you can make use of these types of actions when you want our flow to trigger. So as I was mentioning, right, what is our simple business use case? We were talking about the leads. Now, whenever a lead is created into the Salesforce, an email has to be triggered to the user. So that is a business use case. So in that scenario, what is that action that you have to use? We will be using a action which is trigger the flow when a record is created and after the record is saved. So here the second option is run the flow when you want the flow to run. Before the record is saved, you want to run the flow, or after the record is saved, you want to run the flow. So our business use case is as soon as a record is created, that is after the record is saved in the system, an email has to be triggered to the user. So that is the business use case. So we will have to choose a record is created as a first option, and then choose run the flow after the record is saved. Then click on done. Then it is asking me to choose the object. So we will be making use of the lead object here. So just simply type in lead, and then here it is asking me to choose the condition. So we will make use of a simple condition, which is the status of our lead is equal to these, and all of the four different statuses which is available in our Salesforce. One is open not contacted, working contacted, closed converted, closed not converted. So the use case is as soon as a lead is created in the system, that is with the status as open not contacted, an email has to be triggered. So that is our simple business use case. Please do remember, we are just taking a very simple business use case for our demo. However, these process flows can be used to automate our complex business processes. Okay, now click on done. Once that is done, here you see it is asking us a new action, a path has been updated, add scheduled path. So using this uh, s- uh, record triggered flow, you can schedule a path when you want the flow to run. So if at all you want to provide certain time duration when you want our trigger or our flow to run, you can use the new schedule path, or you can make use of run immediately. Then here you can see interaction. So I would like to use the action here, action component here from the interaction, and choose the email. When I select the email on the center of the page, that is left hand side, on the right hand side you will see the email, send email action. So let us choose this. As soon as I select this, it is asking me to enter the label name. So we will just give a very simple label name, send email. We will make use of the same email label, send email. Description not needed. What should be the body? Hi, new lead got created in the system. If you want to give the subject also, let's give the same subject. Here remember, we can also make use of the resources which is available. If you want to create a new resource, you can create a new resource. Or if you want to use a global variable in the sense, suppose that record first name, record last name, all those are global variables. So you can make use of the global variables, but for now let us keep it very simple. We can just make use of the same body what I have attached. And here it is asking me collection is if you want rest all are something which is optional. Now this email addresses, we will choose this. If I want to include this, I can click on this thing to include the email addresses, and here I will be using my email address, sfdconestop@gmail.com. This is my email address. So what I want is whenever a lead is created which matches the criteria, an email has to be triggered to the email address which is defined in my new action. And if you want to have the sender email address, you can have the sender email address as amrita.salesforce@gmail.com, something like this. All of this is not needed, and click on done. As I was mentioning, this is something that you need to establish a connection between these two processes, right? You have a schedule triggered, you have a record triggered flow, then you have an actions. So you have to connect these two. So immediately as soon as a record is created, you have to run the flow. We want the flow to run after the record is saved and send out an email action. So once you created your flow, let's save it. Save the flow name as new record triggered flow. Okay, it is always as a best practice, it's always good to update your description. Suppose there are a couple of team members in your organization, right, in your company, and you are working on this flow. There will be a possibility that not only you but rest of your team members will also have to work on this particular flow. So you can update the description so that people will know what changes you have done in this particular flow, and the other person who will be you or who will be working on this flow knows that okay, Namrita has worked on this flow wherein she just created a simple quick action, wherein we can send out an email as soon as an record is created. Likewise, it is a best practice to always update the description. Something like this: Namrita added email action, something like this, yeah. And then click on save. So here you see, you can activate. You have to activate as soon as you save it. You have to activate it. Once you activate it, our flow is active in the system. Now we can also make use of a debug functionality with which you can figure it out whether your flow is working fine or not. So before you deactivate the flow, you can also make use of the debug button. So when I click on this debug button, here it is asking me search for the leads. I don't want, because as soon as I want to create a lead, right, you can go to a record here. Let's go back. When I create a record, it is failed because I have not updated, because this is about creating of a record. So let us try to create a record in the Salesforce. Now when I try to create the same record and save as, the flow is already activated, right? Let us activate the flow. Now, as soon as a record is created, an email has to be triggered. You see here, a new lead got created into the system. And it will just tell me that the email has been triggered from namrata.kadiala@salesforce.com, and it is sending out an email to this specific email address which says that a new lead got created into the system. So this is a very simple email template that we have used. However, in the real-time scenario, you may have to use what is the record first name, what is the record last name, who might have created this lead. All of those details is something which you can use when you create your email action. So how you can do that? When I go back here, rather than the body, what we can make use is, like when I go here, record, user, first name, first name. So the body will say that, okay, the record that is Namrata Kadiyala, a new lead has been created into the system. So likewise, you can make use of the global variables, and you can define or create your template in a very detailed manner, so that your lead owner or your manager or your anybody, on the top priority people, high level stakeholders, they will get to know that these certain different types of leads got created in the system, and certain actions has to be performed for the leads which got created into the system. So that is how what you can do the debug, and you can also verify whether the record has been created successfully or not. Once the record has been created, you also got an email saying that an email new lead got created into the system successfully. So this is how you can um, you make use of the record triggered flow, and automate the business processes without writing a without writing a single apex code. So here, rather than making use of the apex code, what we are using is, we are making use of the record triggered flow. We are just dragging and dropping, and if at all you wanted to add some assignments, you wanted to provide some decisions, that is conditions, if the record created, deleted, or any other conditions, collections, all of this is something components that you can make use of, and then you can define your complex business processes using the record triggered flow. So this is what we have for our today's session. Until we come up with our next topic, please do take care of yourself. Stay safe. Signing off, Namrata Karyala. Have a good day. Bye.